औरत का तो मर्डर हो गया था।
मर्डर हो गया?
हाँ हाँ मामा, बताया ना लड़की हुई थी। I'm adhering as far as possible to telling from only my personal part in the business. I pass over the events of the next 2 hours, the arrival of Captain Maitland and the police and Dr. Rayleigh. There was a good deal of general
वो उस
confusion.
लड़की का हुआ ना जो डरती थी।
हाँ, मिसेस लाइटनर का,
हाँ।
मिसेस लाइटनर का मर गया। There was a good deal of general confusion, questioning, and all the routine business I support. In my opinion, we began to get down to the brass tacks about 5 o'clock when Dr. Riley asked me to come with him into the office. He shut the door and sat down in Dr. Lidner's chair, motioned me to sit down opposite him and said briskly, "Now then, nurse, let's get down to it. There's something damned odd here. कुछ अजीब सा है." I settled my cuffs and looked at him inquiringly. He drew out a notebook. "This is for my own satisfaction. Now, what time was it exactly when Dr. Leidner found his wife's body?" उनकी वाइफ की बॉडी को कितने बजे पता लगा? I say it was
पर ये
on.
बता, उनकी वाइफ जो थी वो इस नर्स के सामने मरी है?
नहीं,
अच्छा।
ये नर्स अपने गई रूम में किताबें पढ़ के सो गई थी। मिसेस लाइडनर सोती थी और तो ये जब उठी तो ये गई उनके रूम में,
हाँ।
दरवाज़ा खोला तो देखा डॉक्टर लाइडनर नीचे आ रहे हैं स्टेयरकेस से। डॉक्टर लाइडनर ने कहा, रे देखो मैंने क्या किया, ऊपर छत पे सब साफ कर दिया है और मिसेस लाइडनर को बताएंगे, शी बी वेरी हैप्पी। वो अंदर गए। जब अंदर गए और बाहर आए तो उनका चेहरा एकदम फक था, उनकी बीवी मर गई थी और अंदर से सारा रूम के बोल्ट्स वोल्ट्स सब बंद थे। ये अंदर गई, इसने देखा कि पीछे नेक के एक वो लगा है, ज़ोर से झटका लगा है। तो इसको लगा कि भैया किसी ने मर्डर किया, क्योंकि ज़ोर से आप सुसाइड नहीं कर सकते। फिर ये बाहर आए, फिर डॉक्टर लायरे और रेले उन सबको बुलाया गया। इमर्ट जो था सबसे ठंडे दिमाग का आदमी था। फिर एक बंदा जो कि सैलरीज लेके आता था वो गया पुलिस को बुलाने के लिए। और मिसेस मर्काडो वाज आल्सो पैनिक स्ट्रिकन कि ये क्या हुआ।
मिसेस मर्काडो जो
पसंद नहीं करते थे,
हाँ,
ये क्या हुआ, वो भी आ गए थे।
शक करती है।
कि मिस्टर मर्काडो जो थे मिसेस लाइनर पे लड्डू थे ना। In my opinion, we began to get down to brass tacks at about 5 o'clock when Dr. Riley asked me to come with him into the office. He shut the door and sat down in Dr. Leidner's chair, motioned me to sit down opposite him and said briskly, "Now then, nurse, let's get down to it. There's something damned odd here." I settled my cuffs and looked at him inquiringly. He drew out a notebook. "This is for my own satisfaction. Now, what time was it exactly when Dr. Leidner found his wife's body?" I should say it was exactly 2:45. And how would you know that? Well, I looked at my watch when I got up. It was 20 to 3 then. 20 मिनट 20 to 3 था। वो गई थी, डोर नॉक किया था 2:45. Let's have a look at this watch of yours. I slipped it off my wrist and turned it out to him. Right to the minute, excellent woman. Good, that's fixed. Now, did you form any opinion as to how long she's been dead? कोई ओपिनियन था कि भाई कितने टाइम से मरी हैं मिसेस लाइडना? और रियली डॉक्टर, आई सेड आई शुडंट लाइक टू से. Don't be so professional. I want to see if your estimate agrees with mine. Well, I should say that she's been dead for at least an hour. 1 घंटे पहले तो मरी गई थी. Quite so. I examined the body at 4:30, and I'm inclined to put the time of death between 1:15 and 1:45. मतलब 1:15 और 1:45 के बीच में उनकी हत्या हुई.
दिन में?
हाँ. We'll set 1:30 at a guess. That's near enough. He stopped and drummed thoughtfully with his fingers on the table. "Damn dot this business," he said. "Can you tell me about it? You were resting, you say. Did you hear anything?" अजीब सा है, रेस्ट कर रही थी, कुछ सुना? At 1:30, no doctor. I didn't hear anything at 1:30 or at any other time. I lay on my bed from 1:45 until 2:50. from quarter to 1 until 20 to 3. 1 घंटा. And I didn't hear anything except that droning noise the Arab boy makes and occasionally Mr. Emmett shouting up to Dr. Leidner on the roof. डॉक्टर मिस्टर एमट जो थे मिस्टर लाइडनर को शाउट कर रहे थे ऊपर रूफ पे. वो जो अरब था वो लड़का वो कर रहा था. Arab boy, yes, he frowned. At that moment the door opened and Dr. Leidner and Captain Maitland came in. Captain Maitland was a funny, fuzzy little man with a pair of shrewd green eyes. Dr. Rayleigh rose and pushed Dr. Leidner into his chair. Sit down, man, I'm glad you have come. We shall want you. There's something very queer about this business. Dr. Leidner bowed his head. I know, he looked at me. My wife confided the truth to Nurse Letheran. We mustn't keep anything back at this juncture, nurse. So please tell Captain Maitland and Dr. Riley just what passed between you and my wife yesterday. ये बड़ा ऑड है. मेरी वाइफ ने नर्स नीथरन से बात की थी और कुछ ऑड बिजनेस हुआ है. As nearly as possible, I gave my conversation verbatim. Captain Maitland uttered an occasional ejaculation. When I had finished, he turned to Dr. Leidner. And this is all true, Leidner? Everyone Nurse Maitland has told you is correct. What an extraordinary story, said Dr. Rayleigh. You can produce these letters? I have no doubt they will be found amongst my wife's belongings. She took them out of the attache case on her table, I said. Then they are probably still there. He turned to Captain Maitland and his usually gentle face grew hard and stern. There must be no question of hushing the story up, Captain Maitland. The one thing necessary is for this man to be caught and punished. You believe it actually is Mrs. Leidner's former husband? I asked. Don't you think so, nurse? Asked Captain Maitland. Well, I think it is open to doubt, I said hesitatingly. In any case, said Dr. Leidner, the man is a murderer and I should say a dangerous lunatic also. He must be found, Captain Maitland. He must. It should not be difficult. Dr. Rayleigh said slowly, it may be more difficult than you think, Maitland. Captain Maitland tugged at his moustache without replying. Suddenly I gave a start. Excuse me, I said. But there's something perhaps I ought to mention. I told my story of the Iraqi we had seen trying to peer through the window, and of how I had seen him hanging about the place 2 days ago trying to pump Father Livni. Good, said Captain Maitland. We'll make a note of that. It will be something for the police to go on. The man may have some connection with the case. Probably paid to act as a spy, I suggested, to find out when the coast was clear. Dr. Rayleigh rubbed his nose with harassed gesture. Ab kya ho, Mama? Ah, that's the devil of it, he said. Supposing the coast wasn't clear, eh? I stared at him in a puzzled fashion. Captain Maitland turned to Dr. Leidner. I want you to listen to me very carefully, Leidner. This is a review of the evidence we have got up to date. After lunch, which was served at 12 o'clock and was over by 5 and 20 to 1, your wife went to her room accompanied by Nurse Letheran, who settled her comfortably. You yourself went up to the roof where you spent the next 2 hours. Is that right? Yes. Did you come down from the roof at all during that time period? No. Did anyone come up to you? Yes, Emma did pretty frequently. He went to and fro between me and the boy who was washing pottery down below. Did you yourself look over into the courtyard at all? Once or twice, usually to call Emmett about something. On one occasion, the boy was sitting in the middle of the courtyard washing pots. Yes.
What?
Washing pots? Yes. Yes. What was the longest period of time when Emmett was with you and absent from the courtyard? Dr. Leidner considered. It's difficult to say, perhaps 10 minutes. Personally, I should say 2 or 3 minutes, but I know by my experience my sense of time is not very good when I'm absorbed and interested in what I am doing. Captain Maitland looked at Dr. Rayleigh. The latter nodded. We'd better get down to it, he said. Captain Maitland took out a small notebook and opened it. Look here, Edna, I'm going to read you exactly what every member of expedition was doing between 1 and 2 this afternoon. But surely, wait. You'll see what I'm driving at in a minute. First, Mr. and Mrs. Mercado. Mr. Mercado says he was working in his laboratory. वो अपने laboratory में काम कर रहा था. Mrs. Mercado says she was in her bedroom shampooing her hair. Miss Johnson says she was in the living room taking impressions of cylinder seals. Mr. Writer says he was in the dark room developing plates. Father Levigny says he was working in his bedroom. As to the two other remaining members of the expedition, Carey and Coleman, the former was on the deck and Coleman was in Hasana. Coleman Hasana गया था और Carey जो था deck में था. So much for the members of the expedition. Now for the servants. The cook, your Indian chap, was sitting immediately outside the archway, chatting to the guard and plucking a couple of fowls. Ibrahim and Mansoor, the houseboys, joined him there at about 1:15. They both remained there laughing and talking until 2:30, by which time your wife was already dead. Cooks जो थे एक साथ थे, बैठ के बात कर रहे थे और एक दूसरे से बात कर रहे थे. 1:15 से 2:30 तक वो लोग बात कर रहे थे. तब तक तुम्हारी बीवी मर चुकी थी. और बाकी सब एक्सपीडिशन वाले, तुम ऊपर थे, तो एमर जो था नीचे से ऊपर आ रहा था. फिर बाकी एक स्ट्रॉन्ग रूम में एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहा था. ठीक है ना. डॉक्टर लाइडनर फॉरवर्ड. आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड यू पजल मी. व्हाट आर यू हिंटिंग एट? इज देयर एनी मीन्स ऑफ एक्सेस टू योर वाइफ्स रूम एक्सेप्ट बाय द डोर इनटू द कोर्टयार्ड? भाई डोर इनटू द कोर्टयार्ड के अलावा किसी और तरीके से तुम्हारा वाइफ रूम एक्सेस किया जा सकता है? नो, देयर आर 2 विंडोज बट दे आर हेवीली बार्ड एंड बिसाइड्स आई थिंक दे वर शट. वो विंडोज जो थे पूरी तरीके से बार्ड थे और पूरी तरीके से बंद थे. They looked at me questioningly. They were closed and lashed on the inside, I said promptly. Closed थे, lashed inside से बंद थे. तो बाहर से तो कोई, विंडो की तरफ से तो कोई नहीं आ सकता. हाँ, ये मेन डोर से हो गया था. In any case, said Captain Mainland, even if they had been open, no one could have entered or left the room that way. My fellows and I have assured ourselves of that way. मतलब उन विंडो से कोई अंदर और बाहर नहीं आ सकता. It is the same with all the other windows given to the open country. They all have iron bars and all the bars are in good condition. Iron bars हैं और iron bars के सारे जो हैं वो अच्छी condition में हैं. To have got into this room, a stranger must have come through the arched doorway in the courtyard. But we have united assurances of the guard, the cook, and the houseboy that nobody did so. Interesting. Dr. Leidner sprang up. What do you mean? What do you mean? Pull yourself together, man, said Dr. Riley quietly. I know it's a shock, but it's got to be faced. The murderer didn't come from outside, so he must have come from inside. Murderer जो था वो बाहर से तो पक्का नहीं आया. अंदर किसी ने वो किया गया है. It looks as though Miss Slidner must have been murdered by a member of your own expedition. ठीक है ना. अब ये चैप्टर 12 है. कल पढ़ें? ठीक है, कल पढ़ते हैं. ओके.